Alright, what's up YouTube? This is the first of a string of tutorials that are going to be in-depth about the live instruments. So, the first one on the list is the drum rack. So, in this, I'll be talking about all of the unique abilities of the drum rack and all the cool stuff you can do using it. So for starters, I already have mine set up, so I have a bunch of samplers in here, but I'll go ahead and delete those for now and show you how to do that as well. So for instance, when you first install Live and you open a drum rack, it's going to come up, it's going to be empty like this, and you're going to have these three little tabs over here. First one is macro tabs, which is pretty similar to anything like any groups. You have the same tab in groups, and you also have the same little chain show and hide tab to respectively show the different chains and channels within it. So I'm gonna ungroup this real quick. Whoop. And so now we're gonna look at open up the chain view, and now if I drag in a sampler down here, you'll see it show up in the chain view. I'm gonna drag in a couple more, just to, we can do 2 for now and 3. But if you notice, once you click the chain view, you get another 4, 5 icons down here. 4. These all have some pretty interesting capabilities. The first one is I/O, which is ins and outs, the same as the I/O over here. And what this is it shows a couple new parameters in the chain view. So for starters, you got audio 2. You have this choke parameter, which if you look over here in the info view, when you hover over it, this is for like hi-hats or something. So if I had 2 chains in one channel, for example, and one of them was an open hi-hat, so I'm gonna go ahead and do this. Let's see. Let's get some samples in here. Some hi-hats. You just have these aren't very open, they're almost like they're closed. So this will be our closed one over here. So I'm gonna put that guy in there, and then actually, instead of getting, I'm just gonna get a ride. Where are my rides? Oh, there we go. So something long. This is a really exaggeratedly long ride. So now when I put this in here, and I'm just gonna put a MIDI clip up in here. So let's see. So we got that. So I'm gonna have that, and then a quick little. So if we listen to it now, and right when this sample plays, it's gonna stop. So that again. So it just cuts off the tail. So that's useful to get a studio like live sounding kind of hi-hat, if that's what you're looking to do. Put these back to 1. The next, there's a couple more things down here. The first one, R and S, are the same as the R and S over here. The returns, it's the sends. So what that means is it's the equivalent to a return track on your master, but instead of a channel strip in the main mixer, you're gonna have one of the chains within the drum rack. So I'm gonna delete that, and so now I'm gonna make another drum clip here. So now we have our, well, some hi-hats right here. I'm just gonna loop this. So now if we go back in the drum rack and we come up to and we press send, it's gonna show us I thought I said loop that section. Oh, that was just the MIDI clip. Okay. So now we have a send track right here, which is the same as these or these. And as I turn it up, you're gonna hear this is the return is gonna feed back with some reverb from the snare. Something interesting you can do with this too, if you notice the audio 2 section down here, you can actually route these to any of the return tracks in the main mixer. So if I come over here, I can send that to the return A over here, in case you didn't want it to get processed with the rest of the drum rack. And for example, if you had some crunchy effect going on and you didn't want to get your reverb kind of messed up in that, you'll notice that the audio 2 for the MIDI or the like drum chains is gray. The reason why this is because it's for the wild chance that you have another drum rack within that. So now if I go in here and I go into the send and returns, or no, not the send, in and outs, you'll notice it's open now. So I can take any of these and route it upwards to this drum rack. It's kind of some crazy routing. It's a lot of little pull downs, but you could do some interesting stuff with it. Next, you'll notice these receive and play sections. This can be useful. For example, if you want to have one note, say you want to layer a bunch of claps up to make one clap, but you want to process them in different chains. So in this case, let me find some claps. So let's get some. Yeah, this will be fun. So I come in here, dragging the clap. So now we got one clap going, but I want to have multiple claps triggered at the same time. Or you can have the ride triggered at the same time, but that sounds kind of ridiculous right now. So now just one drum pad is going to trigger both of the claps, and they're going to get processed differently within the chains, which can be useful if one clap has all highs and the other has all lows that you really want. So that cleans up your MIDI notes too, because sometimes in the past I would have like 4 or 5 lanes just for a clap, and by making a multi-chain like little unit in your drum pad here, you don't need to do that. So that's all of those. Over here you have your typical chain. You have your mute, your solo, and you can select multiple solos by holding down Control as well. You got your hot swap, and you just have your general volume fader here. There's just another A thing right here, which is, it's kind of weird. It selects the chain that's getting played by the note. So if you notice, I'll deselect all these, and then it'll reselect because the notes are getting triggered. So the MIDI note in is getting triggered. And so that can be kind of aggravating if you're working with it. But so now, let's say we really want to, we haven't really used the macro knob yet, so I'll show you an example of that. Go to decay time over here. I'm going to right click it, and I'm going to say map to macro 1. And so now I can hide all this other crap and just see the macro knob and control my reverb from there. So that's a closer look at drum rack. And also, so when I delete this, you'll notice when I load a new one, mine already has 4 samplers in it. How I did this was I'd open it up and have, so my initial drum rack, I had none of these, and I'm going to use sampler anyways when I open it, so I just dragged in a couple like that, 4 typically. And then I came up to the top, right clicked it, and I said save as default preset. So every time I load it, you're going to have 4 samplers already ready to go. So that's a closer look at drum rack. Use and enjoy, guys.